This is the burning issue on the happy world of 5FM radio, bringing you hot, smoldering topics on a weekly basis. Your participation is important.
Good morning. Always a pleasure to be back. And of course, it's the Thursday edition of the burning issue here on the happy world of 5FM radio. Good morning to you all and welcome to it. And today we are live on the following platforms. We are live on Smart Egos, that's a Facebook page. Don't forget, we are also live on Dr. Fred Membe's Facebook page, live on 5FM Radio Zambia Facebook page. And our partner radio stations carrying this program live are Tuta FM Radio on 90.7 in Mansa, and also live on Muchinga Radio 88.1 in Chinsali, covering the rest of Muchinga province. Spice FM Radio in Zimbabwe and covering the rest of Central Province on 91.1. We are grateful that you found time to carry this program live. And 1 FM. Don't forget Southern Province is well, because we are live from Mazabuka on Wave FM Radio on 98.7. I'm your host, Zakaria Banda. Now, today we are going to discuss many other burning issues, including that of the arrest of the Socialist Party leader in Dr. Fred Membe. But in the studio with me is the Deputy Secretary General of the Socialist Party, and this is Mr. Antonio Mwanza. A pleasure to have you, and welcome to this particular Thursday edition of the Burning Issue.
Thank you so much, Comrade Zach, and good morning to all the listeners and those that are watching us live via different platforms and social media. It's a pleasure for us as a Socialist Party to be here.
It may not be a good morning for your leader.
Not at all. Not at all. I wish I was here in a different circumstance. But as fate would have it, we are here because our president, Dr. Freddie Membe, was formally charged and arrested yesterday, and he's been charged with an offense of espionage, contrary to Cap 111 of the laws of Zambia, particularly the State Securities Act, Section 4.
It's quite a serious offense.
Espionage is a very, very serious offense. It carries a minimum sentence of 20 years. And because espionage is a very serious offense, it has got clear ingredients that makes it become espionage. He was interviewed at Ibex police station. After the interrogations at Ibex police station, he was transferred there and taken to Nampundwe at a small police station called Westwood, where he's been kept and where he spent the night. It's a very tiny cell where he's being kept. This room that we have here in the studio is quite big. It could be half or a quarter of this room, and there are 11 people there shunted together. The conditions are pathetic. He was transferred like they're transferring a war criminal. If you look at the level of police presence in different armory, different vehicles, transferring Dr. Fred like they're transferring a war criminal.
Of course, espionage amounts to that.
Espionage is a bondable offense or bailable offense. And as at yesterday, Dr. Freddie Membe met the bail conditions. They asked for 2 working sureties. He produced 4 working sureties. But for some reason, the police could not give him bail, could not give him bond. They have referred the matter to the Director of Public Prosecutions for his consent. And as at now, this morning, we are still waiting for the DPP to give consent to his bond. We are looking forward as a party that the DPP will act in a professional manner and give consent to Dr. Freddie Membe to have bond, since the offense has been given is a bondable offense. It is also very important that we give a background to this offense. Dr. Freddie Membe, Mr. Chirufya Tayali, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba, and Honorable Raphael Mangani Nakachinda gave interviews to a Zimbabwean journalist. And those interviews were about the elections in Zimbabwe, the just ended general elections in Zimbabwe. And the documentary was produced, which is a public document, public video, which is on YouTube, it is on different channels, and it's a public data to be consumed by the public. In that documentary, Dr. Membe raised some critical issues with regards to the elections in Zimbabwe. He pointed out to the very fact that Zimbabwe has been at war with the neoliberal imperialists from the time of Robert Mugabe, when Robert Mugabe started the land reform activities. Land in Zimbabwe was taken by the white farmers, white settlers, white foreigners. And the people of Zimbabwe have the right to their land. And the people of Zimbabwe demanded that land should be given back to them because the land in Zimbabwe belongs to the Zimbabwean people. And because of that, the Western neoliberal capitalists slapped very gruesome sanctions on Zimbabwe. And the people of Zimbabwe have been on sanctions for the last 20 years, from 2003 to date. And they have been pushing for a regime change in Zimbabwe. Former President of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, articulated to the world and disclosed that the United States had approached other countries in the region and that they were pushing very seriously for regime change in Zimbabwe. We are all aware of the activities of the Brenthurst Foundation, the Oppenheimer family, and how they have been pushing for regime change in Uganda, in Zimbabwe, in Zambia, and other countries. These are public discourse. There's nothing secretive about this. This is public discourse. And Dr. Freddie Membe raised these realities. And Dr. Freddie Membe praised the people of Zimbabwe for being resilient against the white supremacists, against white imperialism. He also raised the fact that Zimbabwe and Zambia are like Siamese twins. All the countries that are bordering Zambia are like Siamese twins. We are one Zambia, we are one Africa, we are one people. As a Pan-Africanist himself, as an internationalist himself, as a patriot himself, Dr. Freddie Membe believes that Zambia, just like Zimbabwe and any other African country, must be free from colonialism, whether it is neo-colonialism, whether it is capitalism, that the peoples of this continent must forge their own destiny. And there is nothing in that documentary that amounts to espionage. We must define what espionage is. What does the law say what espionage is? These are secretive, covert operations that are tactically targeting a country to destabilize a country.
I looked it up.
Yeah, you can read it out to the people so that they can understand what espionage is.
It's the practice of spying or of using spies, typically by governments, to obtain political and military information.
Excellent definition. It's about spying, mostly by governments, using military operations to destabilize the peace of a state. Giving an interview, like I'm giving an interview here, how does it become a military operation? How does it amount to spying? It is ridiculous, it is absurd that Dr. Freddie Membe Comrade Raphael Mangani Nakachinda can be slapped with espionage for giving interviews that are public discussions, public discourse. And they can be accused that they were spying against Zambia or spying against Zimbabwe. But this is what we are living in now. This government has resorted to using and abusing the law, using and abusing the police to arrest, to intimidate, to detain opposition leaders. Just 2-3 days ago, they arrested Comrade Nakachinda, Honorable Given Lubinda, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba, and Comrade Dr. Freddie Membe on these ridiculous, absurd, frivolous, and vexatious charges. The Catholic priests have communicated their position to the government. They have raised concerns about how this government is using state arms, state security apparatus to shrink the democratic space for the Zambian people to freely mingle, assemble, mobilize, and express themselves. From the time that the UPND government formed the government, UPND political party formed government, we as opposition political parties have not been allowed to have public rallies. Every time we apply to the police, giving them notification that we need to have a public rally, the police tell us that they have got security concerns and that they do not have manpower to marshal the events. After saying that they don't have manpower, they bring hordes of police officers with riot gear to close up anybody and stop everybody from having those public rallies. We have been denied the right to hold public rallies. Today, every critical voice has been silenced. Media houses are being threatened with revocation of licenses using the Independent Broadcasting Authority for featuring opposition voices, critical voices. The church has been attacked. The UPND Secretary General Wobatuke Imenda has called the Catholic bishops as Lucifers for criticizing government, for holding government to account. They have been called Lucifers. And the President of the Republic of Zambia...
It's only one individual.
Oh, it's only one Lucifer. So there's only one Lucifer. Okay. So according to Wobatuke Imenda, Archbishop Alec Banda is a Lucifer. Is a Satana, Mudierekezi. Very, very vile language. Very malicious language. And yet the president has allowed the Secretary General, CEO of the party, to call an Archbishop of the Catholic Church as a Satana. And the president doesn't see anything wrong with that. We have seen how the bishops of the Catholic Church are being insulted by bloggers of UPND on social media. They are insulting them left, right, and center. And President Hakainde Hichilema doesn't see anything wrong with that. We have seen how the government position through Honorable Charles Milupi has been that those bishops are simply opposition opportunists who are fighting the government. We have seen how they have labeled the Law Association of Zambia, which again has issued a very critical statement concerning the shrinking democratic space. And they have called them names. They have attacked them. We have seen even how they have attacked people that campaigned for them. Comrade Shishua, who campaigned for the UPND. Comrade John Sangwa, who campaigned for the UPND. Because today, they are holding UPND to account. They are called names. They are being insulted. We have seen how UPND cadres have gone into radio stations and stopped people from conducting their business to communicate and used power, used muscles to block these radio stations. One of them is PASMI. We have seen, for instance, how Innocent Piri from Movie TV was bundled in a car like a criminal for simply covering the arrest of Chirusha Tayari as a journalist. And we have seen that the president has kept quiet on all these issues. And we have seen how the police have continued to be used and abused in the manner that is going on, and people, Zambians have to take note of this. First of all, people are being arrested every day. For bailable offenses, they're not being given bond. For bailable offenses. Even when they meet the bail conditions, they are still not being given bond. People are being arrested and they're not being taken to court. They are not being taken to court. It's because they have no evidence against these individuals that they're arresting. Dr. Freddie Membe has been arrested and charged with different flimsy cases in Serenje, in Ikawe, in Lusaka. And every time we go to court, the state is not ready to prosecute because they have no evidence. People are being kept in cells without being charged. They are being detained without being given any criminal offenses. We have seen Sean Tembo, we have seen Dr. Freddie Membe, we have seen Honorable Givelo Winda, we have seen Emmanuel Mwamba, we have seen Nakachinda, we have seen Savoy Imboela, we have seen everybody being detained. They are not being given charges, they are not being taken to court, and everybody is being inconvenienced. We thought that President Hakainde Sami Hichilema, having spent 15 years in opposition, having been so vile in attacking presidents, we thought that he would have a heart to tolerate others, to also criticize him, to hold him accountable, to hold him responsible for the things that he says as president of the country, also as leader of government. If you go back to the Facebook page of President Hakainde Sami Hichilema, the way he used to attack President Michael Sata, the way he used to attack President Lungu, Ngaba Lungu Bena, he even refused to call him as president. He was just calling him Mr. Lungu. And he went after that man every day, Umusalula, Ukutukaba Lungu, every day on his Facebook page. Look at how he criticized President Monawasa. Look at how he criticized Vice President Guy Scott, even calling him Mzungo Pusa. Look at how he criticized President Arabi. And yet today, he doesn't want to be criticized. He wants all of us to treat him as a demigod. We should be kneeling down to President Hakainde Sami Hichilema. We should be begging in our own country. And I want to use this opportunity. You hear the caller of UPND when they call. This is what they'll say. First of all, they'll say that President Hakainde Sami Hichilema has given you freedom. President Hakainde Sami Hichilema cannot give anyone freedom. The freedom that we enjoy today has been given unto us by ourselves through the Constitution. We fought for independence of this country.
Obviously, they say that in comparison to the Patriotic Front regime,
comrade,
which you belong to,
comrade.
So comparisons are based on the time of the PF in government and the time of the UPND in government.
If the PF was as brutal as they want to make it appear, the UPND could not have been in government today. You as 5FM, how many live radio programs did you have with UPND members here? Hundreds of UPND programs here on this studio here, hundreds of them. They were not stopped to come here and have those public discussions. They were not stopped from mobilizing through press briefings. They were not stopped. Okay? There might have been one or two occasions where the police were overzealous, but they were allowed to do these things. So I want to put on record, comrade, that the UPND callers, when they call, they will say, Hakainde has given you freedom. I want to put on record. Hakainde has not given anyone freedom. Hakainde cannot give anyone freedom. Freedom has been given to us by the people of Zambia. We fought for this freedom. The freedom is enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. So the narrative that he has given us freedom should not even be entertained. Number two, when they call on this program, they will not deal with the substance of the issues that we are discussing here. The issues that we are raising here, they will not deal with those issues. So you were in PF this, PF that, PF that. I hope that you will limit them to the issues that we are discussing here.
Let's even discuss.
And I want us to discuss issues.
Let's discuss issues. Thanks for leading me into it. let's discuss the Zambia's debt restructuring, which seemed to have hit a brick wall. What does this entail to an ordinary citizen listening in terms of the future of this country economically? Because economic restructuring was solely hanging on the progress and which direction debt restructuring takes.
Excellent report, comrade. First of all, we must be very concerned as Zambians that the economic recovery, the debt restructuring was an anchor of economic recovery. Debt restructuring simply means that you are given an opportunity to sit down with your creditors and agree on the modalities in which you can pay back the debt. It gives you room for a breathing space. Because, for instance, you can negotiate on the time span of repaying the debt. That instead of paying the debt within 24 months, you can say, we don't have money to pay within 24 months. Give us 48 months. So if you are paying, for instance, $50 million per month, you start paying $25 million per month. The extra $25 million that you needed to pay, you inject it in other sectors of the economy. And also, the debt comes interest rates. One of the things that you do with debt restructuring is that you can negotiate that the interest rate may be lowered so that instead of paying more, you pay less. We asked the Socialist Party to say, can you give us the details of what has been agreed on this debt restructuring? And we have to be very categorical here that the debt that Zambia has is about $18 billion US. It's around $18 billion US, foreign debt. The debt that has been agreed to be restructured is only $6 billion. $12 billion has not been agreed upon. 24 months after being in government, the UPND government has failed to come up with an agreement with other creditors on the huge chunk of debt that we owe. They have managed to come up in agreement with only those creditors concerning the $6 billion. The $12 billion has remained intact and there's been no agreement. But even this $6 billion, the IMF has told us that they have expressed reservations. And the Ministry of Finance has come out and said that they are concerned that they've still not agreed on the modalities of this debt restructuring. I think government must come out to the Zambian people, and we demand, as Socialist Party, that government must come out in the open and tell the Zambian people, what are these reservations that the IMF has? Is it because of the corruption that is going on in government, where now we're told that there's corruption in the fuel procurement? Is it the corruption that is going on in government, where now they are buying defective medicines? They are buying mankwala yola? Is it the corruption that is going on in government, where the Zambia Consolidated Copper Mines Mines Investment Holdings, ZCCMIH, has been suspended on the international stock because of failure to be accountable, to be transparent? Are these the red flags that the IMF and the creditors are raising? That, look, you are saying that we'll do things differently, but there's corruption and accusations of corruption at ZCCMIH. There's corruption and accusations of corruption at the Ministry of Health. There's corruption and accusations of corruption in the Ministry of Energy with regards to the procurement of fuel. That there's corruption and cases and accusations of corruption in the Ministry of Agriculture, where we have been told that the Ministry of Agriculture has refused to allow officers from the Auditor General to go and audit the Ministry of Agriculture. Are these the reasons why the IMF and the creditors are raising reservations? Is it because the creditors and the IMF has realized that the economic apparatus of Zambia has totally collapsed? That the exchange rate, kwacha as we are speaking now, is in free fall mode. Free falling. It is now heading to 23 kwacha per dollar. Inflation rate is going high and high every day. liquidity has been reduced in the economy as the Bank of Zambia has continued to increase the monetary policy rate. It has continued to increase the reserve statutory ratio. Is it because this government has failed to reinvigorate the economy and there's literally no economic activity going on? Why has the IMF, which has been their darling, suddenly expressed reservations, said, no, we can't believe that these guys can restructure the debt? We demand that government must be transparent and come out to the Zambian people through the Ministry of Finance and tell the Zambian people, why is IMF and the creditors, why are they having reservations to allow for debt restructuring? Why? The Zambian people deserve to know. They boasted about this debt restructuring. I remember when the president was coming back, they even bust cadres kuwapereka ku airport, kwenze kuliza ngoma, kwenze kuvina vijavaso. At no, he has managed to do debt restructuring. People are calling me and mocking me, and I was laughing. And today we are in this crisis. IMF bakana, my creditors bakana. Why are they refusing? I think the people of Zambia needs to know. Comrade, we are in a huge mess. We are in a huge mess. A very huge mess. Let's look at the fundamentals of the economy. Which government sector or government ministry is doing well today? Kulibe. There is no single government ministry where you can say at least a ministry is performing well. Kulibe.
Local government?
Local government ndiye kuchinina cha CDF.
Of course.
In the last 2 years, they have allocated over 50 million kwacha per constituency. Over 50 million kwacha per constituency. Today we are told that less than 8 million has been allocated, actually has been released and distributed per constituency. Out of 50 million plus, less than 8 million has been released to the constituencies. Today we are being told that the constituencies and the local government authorities do not have the capacity. We told them. If you look at the CDF, again, it was, they like playing on people's minds.